Hello, 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 and welcome back to another edition of Fan Talk, your favorite podcast by your favorite fan. That is me, of course, Kyle Brinchley, aka K Brench, here in the house on this Wednesday. It the fall weather has officially arrived, and I know I'm saying this. I'm filming this on October 30th, and it's been fall for more than a month now. But it's starting to actually feel like it. Like it was a really warm October where I was, a really warm September as well, but now it's really cooling down. I'm loving it. Best time of the year. I will stand by that. I will die by that. Guys, welcome in. If you've never been here before, welcome. This is the Fan Talk Podcast. I'm Kyle Brinchley, and I love sports, and so do you, I assume. If not, then you're probably just one of my other fans from I don't know, maybe my dating podcast, or you just stumbled upon this accidentally and are like looking for reasons to click away from this video. But stick around. This podcast is found anywhere you get your podcast. Obviously, I put it on YouTube as well for those who like the video version. So without further ado, let's jump right in to the Fan Talk Fast Talk. But before we do that, shout out to the Rogue One poster. As always, I got my leaf candle burning. I have a pumpkin candle burning as well. 'Tis the season to burn wax that smells like everyday things. Okay, so our Fan Talk Fast Talk. Let me tell you, we'll do it a little different this time. This Sunday I was actually in Denver. I was at the Denver Broncos game against the Carolina Panthers. Really fun. That's my second game there. I went to a game last year, and then obviously the game on Sunday. It was just super fun. A great game to go to because the Broncos were playing the Carolina Panthers. The Broncos pretty much dominated the entire game. I doubt you guys really watched it because there's a lot, maybe more intriguing matchups on television. But it was really fun. It was super cool. They were handing out these kind of sumo, not sumo, I guess Mexican wrestling masks that you wear that cover your eyes and your mouth. It's orange. It has the Denver Broncos logo on it. Kind of cool. I have an open mind. Maybe I'll whip it out one of these days. But anyways, it was super fun. I recommend if you haven't gone to an NFL game before or even a college game, they're definitely different experiences for sure, but NFL, I highly recommend 10 out of 10 if you can find time. Go to your favorite team's NFL game. All right, switching gears to basketball for a second. Can you believe it? It is almost November, and that means that college hoops is almost back. College hoops tips off on Monday, so obviously that's not for another 5 days, but since I do this podcast only weekly, next week it will have officially begun. So college hoops returns on Monday. Can UConn push for another championship, especially since Dan Hurley's like, I ain't going to the Lakers. I am staying here. Trying to go for 3 in a row. That would be super cool. So again, Monday, college hoops is back. It just keeps getting better and better. And we're just adding college hoops to this already awesome lineup of sports that is happening. Speaking of awesome lineups, let's talk about the World Series. Let's start off with the fans. I don't know if you guys were watching. You guys better be watching the World Series. If you guys are not watching the World Series, then you guys are really missing out. But there were fans that were banned from Game 5. They can't go to Game 5, which is tonight. This happened in Game 4. I don't know if you saw it. I think it was the bottom of the first. Like it was like at the beginning of the game. Literally, they reached over, and it's one of those classic cases of fan interference where they reach over. Mookie Betts, the right fielder for the Los Angeles Dodgers, was going to make a catch, and the fans reached over, and they were trying to catch the ball as well. But this is where the plot thickens. Mookie Betts actually makes the catch. His hand is over the wall, and it was going to go foul, so he's allowed to go and make that catch. The fans, there's 2 of them, they team up on him, and they try to rip the ball out of his glove. One of them grabs his wrist, one of them grabs the mitt, and they actually rip the ball out. It's kind of a weird thing. Like sometimes, I mean, obviously you see them like going for the ball, but I don't know if I've ever seen that before where they like grab the player and hold down his arm and rip the ball out. Kind of interesting. Anyways, those fans are banned from Game 5. Yankees do win Game 4. So, kind of fun there. All right, that was your Fan Talk Fast Talk. 3 quick stories to start off your Wednesday. Let's stick with baseball. We're talking World Series here. This might be the last time we talk about it because, as you may know, and if you do not, then shame on you, the Dodgers are up 3-1 against the New York Yankees in the World Series. The Yankees did end up winning Game 4 yesterday to force Game 5, which was very imperative because obviously if you lose all 4 games, then it's over. So Game 5 tonight on Fox, 6 p.m. here, Mountain Standard Time. Yankees, this is the last game that will be in Yankee Stadium this season. So, I mean, the Yankees obviously need to win this one. They have Garrett Cole on the mound, of course, ace pitcher, 2.82, 2.82 ERA for the postseason. He's done really well. He's already gotten them a dub. This could be very interesting because how the series was looking, obviously the Dodgers were dominant in the first 3 games. Like I guess Game 3, it was sort of close. They kind of did have the bases loaded there. The Yankees did. But it just seems like the Dodgers had really dominated the first 3 games. Freddie Freeman was hitting home runs every single game. The Yankees were just ice cold. Like, no one could hit. Aaron Judge is still missing. I don't know where he is. Stanton wasn't hitting a home run. Juan Soto, where are you? And so it was looking bad. And obviously they did win Game 4. The Yankees did, and I thought they would. I didn't think the Yankees are too good of a team, both in the bullpen and at bat, even though they are struggling, to get swept in the World Series. So they won Game 4. Now, Game 5, this might be a little shift in their attitude and in their confidence because they're still at home. They have Garrett Cole on the mound. They could still very much win this game, force a Game 6, and it makes the series really interesting because the longer the series goes on, the more tired your pitchers get, the more careful you have to be with your bullpen. Like, it's already a whole science figuring out postseason bullpens. It's not the regular season where, your starting pitcher, if he does well, probably pitches 6 innings, maybe 7 if he's doing really well. And then you have, 2 relief pitchers that come in the 8th and 9th. So, I mean, this is like, you could literally go 1 2/3 inning and then get pulled, or you can go, 2 innings and then someone else gets put in. Anyways, it's going to be really interesting to see how they manage the bullpens, especially if the Yankees win Game 5 tonight. Of course, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on Fox. You better be watching. It should be really interesting. I don't have any skin in the game, but I low-key, and by the time this episode releases and by the time you're watching it, the game's probably already over. So I'm not going to necessarily make any predictions because my predictions will probably be obsolete by the time you hear this. But I will just say it would be really fun and really good for the sport if the Yankees were able to pull out Game 5 and force a Game 6 back in LA. That would be really cool. Okay, so there you go. That's my World Series talk. Let's talk college football right now. And let's be really quick on this. There's not a ton of great games this week. If you're new here, I'm very brief on college football unless there's like a big story. I pretty much tell you which games you should be watching. There's not a lot of great games, and no offense to all the fan bases out there. There is one really good one that will be on the morning of Saturday morning. Ohio State and Penn State, 3 versus 4. Penn State is undefeated, of course, and Ohio State is 6-1, just the one loss. It will be really interesting to see if Penn State can win because Drew Aller, their quarterback, went down with a knee injury last week against Wisconsin. Penn State was able to, obviously be okay and win the game. But, I mean, Ohio State's a different animal than Wisconsin, so it will be interesting to see there. But that is definitely a game you should be watching. 3 versus 4, Ohio State, Penn State. Some fun matchups there in the past. And then this one, it's not necessarily a good matchup, but it's kind of the team itself that you should be keeping an eye on, and that is Army. Yes, that is right. Army is ranked 21st. They're 7-0. They're playing Air Force, a little United States Armed Forces military matchup. It's getting national television. It's going to be on CBS, so that's definitely a game you should be checking out as well. And then Florida, Georgia. The Florida-Georgia game is always fun. Florida's not that good this year. They're 4-3. Georgia, obviously the second-ranked team in the nation, looking to continue their dominance and maybe chase Oregon after the number 1 seed. And that is definitely a fun game you should be watching, even though Florida is not quite as good as they have been in years past. But the Florida-Georgia game always brings some fun and some heat. And that's pretty much it. Utah's not playing this week. BYU's not playing this week. Utah State's not playing this week. So not a lot of local teams in action. Maybe a sneaky good game that you could be watching is number 18 Pittsburgh versus number 20 SMU. Could be fun. Both teams kind of flying under the radar obviously with all the other headlines and all the other teams and all the other madness that's going on in college football. But it could be fun. Could be fun. SMU, of course, their only loss has been to BYU, so SMU's really trying to make a push in the ACC. Same with Pittsburgh. Both have a legit shot at getting to the ACC championship, especially if Miami, slips up or anything like that. So there you go. Those are some games you should be watching this week. Again, not a lot of fun. Not a lot of ranked matchups is what I should say there. But all right, let's switch gears to the NFL and the KSL, or not the KSL, excuse me. I'm getting my pick'em groups wrong. The ESPN Pigskin Pick'em group. Now I need to talk about last week. Last week was my worst week, and it really set me off. I was in the top 200 of all ESPN users. I mentioned this in my last week's episode. I was doing really well. I still have really good. I'm still up there. I'm still really good. I'm currently ranked 879th. So I dropped a lot of spots because I had a rough week. I went 11-5. So a couple teams really screwed me up. And it was the purple teams, the Minnesota Vikings, the Baltimore Ravens, the Bengals, Jets over Patriots did not happen. And then Cowboys and 49ers. So, some of those were preventable. Cowboys were underdogs. I probably should have switched that pick. Bengals were underdogs. I should have switched that. So, 13-3 would have been a lot better, but sometimes that's just the NFL. So keeping that in mind, let's move to week 9 of the NFL. Some fun matchups this week in the association. Let's talk Thursday Night Football first and foremost. The Houston Texans visit the New York Jets. And I just got to say, and I've been hard on Zach Wilson in the past when he was on the Jets, and I won't be the first one to admit it because a lot of people have, but maybe we were too hard on Zach Wilson. Maybe, obviously, there was a lot more issues than Zach Wilson on the Jets, and it's very evident because they are 2-6 with Aaron Rodgers. Robert Saleh, maybe he wasn't the problem either. They fired him. That team is a mess, and nothing changed when Aaron Rodgers was healthy. They host the Houston Texans on Thursday Night Football, Halloween night. I recommend going out and doing something fun for Halloween rather than watching this game. But if you really want to watch this game, go ahead. Al Michaels and Kurt Herbstreit will be there with you. I'm going to take the Texans in this one. No-brainer. Jets, not looking good, and it's not going to get any better. All right, Cowboys and Falcons. Now, initially, I would want to pick the Falcons in this one, and the Cowboys did let me down against the 49ers. But I almost feel like, how the Falcons got blown out by Seattle at home? I feel like Atlanta often loses at home. They either win by like a field goal at home or they get blown out. Look back at their schedule this season, and that's kind of been the case. So I'm actually going to roll with the boys, the Dallas Cowboys this week. And if I'm wrong, then 2 weeks in a row, I'm never going to pick the Cowboys again the rest of the season. You heard it here first on Fan Talk. All right, Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins. I'm going to take the Bills. The Bills are looking really good. Hopefully they can beat the Chiefs in the postseason, but right now they're looking real good, and that's all we care about week 9. Raiders at Bengals. I'm going to take the Bengals in this one. They kind of got embarrassed by the Eagles. I think that was a pick that I should have maybe considered a little more. But the Raiders are not a good team. They're not playing well, so give me the Bengals. Chargers and Browns. Now, the Browns coming off a huge victory against the Baltimore Ravens, a game that shocked the entire NFL. Chargers, they played against the Saints. The Saints are barely a team right now. I do like the Chargers in this one. I think 4-3. I think they're a better team than 4-3, but they'll keep winning games and keep going. But the Browns look a lot better with Deshaun Watson out and Jameis Winston in. So who knows? Maybe they'll keep winning a couple more games. All right, now this is a barn burner. The New England Patriots visit the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to go with the Patriots in this one. The Titans are really, really bad with Mason Rudolph under center. Their defense is low-key okay, but the Patriots with Drake May have a little more hope for their future, I would say. And I'm going to take the Patriots in this one. Commanders at Giants. Give me the Commanders. Insane Hail Mary at the end of the game to beat the Chicago Bears. If you did not see it, go search it up on YouTube right now. A classic case of, not being able to account for all the people. They all just kind of bunched up and tried to knock it down, and then whoop, there's the receiver in the back. So I'm going to give me the Commanders. They're going to win by much more than just a Hail Mary at the end. And the Giants will continue to slide. Saints at Panthers. I'm surprised the Saints they're currently 88% picked by users on ESPN. I'm going to pick the Panthers in this one. This might be my upset pick of the week. They did not play very well against Denver, but Denver has a top 5 defense. Their defense is really good. So Bryce Young, was running for his life. The Saints are pretty beat up. The Panthers really do have a chance, and they had a few playmakers that kind of showed up. Chuba Hubbard is always out there playing hard. I think his name's Jeremy Coker. His last name's Coker, but he was a wide receiver on the Panthers that surprisingly did very well against Denver. So, they're still going to run with Bryce Young. Seems like a nice guy. I didn't meet him, but I was really close to him, like physically. The players come out after the game and, they sign autographs and they meet, So I was over on the Denver side. I saw Cortland Sutton and I saw Bo Nix, all that stuff. But my cousin was there at the game with us, and he's a Carolina Panthers fan because he has a high school friend that was on the team, is on the team currently. So anyways, we walked over there, and Bryce Young was out taking, photos with fans and stuff. And I was probably 10 feet away from him. So seems like a nice guy. I think he gets a win this weekend against the Saints. Broncos at Ravens. This should be a really fun matchup. My only concern is that Denver often doesn't show up against really good teams. They looked great against the Buccaneers. They look great against the Saints. They look great against the Panthers. But the Ravens are a whole new animal. So I'm going to take the Ravens in this one. And then if I'm proved to be wrong, then it's a win-win for me. Bears at Cardinals. Ooh, this one's a tough one because the Bears were looking pretty good, but then had a horrific offensive game against the Commanders. Yeah, the Commanders defense is good, but it's not phenomenal. It's not top 5. Kyler Murray's been playing a lot better for the Cardinals. They have a good rushing attack, which the Bears struggle to defend against. So I'm actually going to pick the Cardinals in this one. They are playing at home. They are the underdogs, but give me the Cardinals. Jags at Eagles. I'm going to take the Eagles. I really want this Jags team to be good, but Christian Kirk is now out for the year. And Travis Etienne, we don't know if he's coming back. Tank Bigsby's doing just fine in his place. But the defense can't do enough to win games, and the offense isn't doing enough to win games. So that's why they're 2-6. And we'll go to 2-7 after a loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, this will be a really fun game, depending on if Jordan Love can go. The Detroit Lions will visit the Green Bay Packers. Packers coming off 2 great back-to-back wins against the Texans and against the Jaguars. But Jordan Love did have some tightness in his hamstring, I believe it was. And so we'll have to see what, if he's able to go. Malik Willis has done fine, has gone 2-0 as the starting quarterback for as the fill-in quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. But I do like the Lions to win this one, just because we're not sure if Jordan Love's going to play. Even if Jordan Love did play, the Lions probably squeak this one out. So I'm going to go with Detroit and one pride. All right, the Rams at Seahawks. The Seahawks are actually underdogs, but I'm going to take them in this one. Lumen Field, they got embarrassed by the Buffalo Bills, but Buffalo, I think, is just that good. I think Seattle's just kind of a good average team, and the NFC West is wide open. This will be a huge win for them as they take down the Rams. Colts at Vikings. I think the Vikings bounce back in this one after a tough loss against the Rams, in which, big controversy about the missed face mask on Sam Darnold there at the end. You don't know if that would actually change the outcome of the game, but, for sure it's frustrating that it was a missed call and that it, resulted in a safety and ultimately an L for the Vikings. But I like the Vikings in this one. News out of the Colts, Anthony Richardson will not start. They're going to go with old Joe Flacco, who is 39 years old and apparently has more stamina than a young Anthony Richardson. So I think Anthony Richardson needs to look long and hard in the mirror and, really get back on the horse and not take plays off. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, I'm just going to pick the Chiefs until I'm wrong because, I'm 7 for 7 so far. It's an easy dub. And, of course, the Buccaneers, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans down. Baker will still throw. He still did really well against the Falcons. They almost won there at the end. But ultimately, it will be the Kansas City Chiefs winning that game. So, and there you have it. There's the picks for the week. I am still on top of the Fan Talk Fun group. Again, if you want to join, it's not too late. But for those of you who are in the group, you guys got to make up some ground. I'm up 90 points, and no one's really closing that gap. So, again, I'm just really good at NFL picks. I did have a very bad week 8, going 11-5, hoping to go a lot better this week. All right, guys, that's all I have for you on this week, this edition of Fan Talk. It is getting kind of dark because I'm filming this in the afternoon, just the way my schedule worked out. But anyways, happy Halloween. Hope you guys have some fun plans for tomorrow and enjoy the vibes of the spooky season. Don't eat too much candy. And as always, Fan Talk is a podcast you can find anywhere you get your podcasts. Please tell your friends, like, subscribe, whatever you want to do. I love it. I'll guys see you next week for another edition of Fan Talk. Adios.